Good evening, everybody. I'm Mark.
And I'm Britton.
And today we're going to change gears a little bit.
A little.
We're going to talk about not a movie, not a TV show.
No perish of thought.
Not even a boxing match.
No.
We're going to talk about an honest-to-goodness book.
Yep. Both Mark and I have finished the first book in the Dune series.
By Frank Herbert.
Yes. With the upcoming film, and we figured it was...
high time.
Yeah, high time. I'll give my opinion later, but...
Yeah. So let's just get started and get to work on this.
There is a lot to go through.
All right, so usually I have you do a... do a quick rundown of what the plot was. There's a lot of...
thank you for the opportunity.
I'm going to give you a chance to speak. Hold up. I'm really happy for you, but so why don't you give and remember, there's a lot to go over in this book, so keep it very brief what the brief overall idea is for Dune, and then I'll chime in whenever I feel like it.
Please. So, the book...
it's a lot of pages. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The book, it is a fairly lengthy book. The main focus of the book is a young man by the name of Paul Atreides, who is the son of the Duke of the House Atreides, who through various machinations of political intrigue and an imperial command, the house becomes the ruling house of this planet Acaris,
whatever it is.
And with the former house Harkonnen or Harkonnen, whichever you pronounce, being ousted.
Mm-hmm. So now Arrakis is a very interesting planet because it's the only planet in the universe that makes a substance known as spice, which is very, very addictive, but also has very almost hallucinogenic qualities to it.
Yeah, like it's I might as well say we're gonna get into spoilers.
There's lots of spoilers here.
So if you plan on reading the book
or seeing the movie,
definitely, like, even the David Lynch movie is worth a watch.
You'll be confused, but
definitely come back to this after 4 years when you read the book.
Yeah,
and tell us what you think in the comments.
We're always telling people not to listen to our podcast.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway,
so the spice gives the ability to predict the future to a degree.
You can see through time, basically.
Yeah, and there's this organization called the Guild, which uses that to use their giant ships to navigate faster than light travel, and that's kind of how the Empire has a stronghold on the galaxy.
So they get there, and again, now we're really going to be getting into some spoilers here, because it's almost necessary to talk about it in a very spoiler way. But when they get to the planet, everything's going fine. They go from a water planet, basically, or an Earth-like planet, to this desert planet, and it's almost impossible to survive in the desert without some kind of special suits or whatever.
Yeah, water is such a coveted commodity.
It's sacred.
It's sacred. It's also used as currency. And it is... like the act of spitting on the table before someone is considered a charitable or honorable act.
Honor, yeah.
So
they get there, and the House Atreides, they try to recruit some of these people who live in the desert. They're called, I guess they're
Fremen.
called Fremen. I called them Freemen, but however you want to pronounce it, that's fine. So they're trying to recruit them because they're very, very strong fighters, and they born in hell, basically.
Yeah, it's a pressure builds diamonds, or trouble makes strong men, or something like that.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. But right before they can even do any of that stuff, the Baron Harkonnen unleashes his evil scheme. He has most of the House Atreides murdered, and he takes over. Paul escapes with his mother, Jessica, who is kind of a
wet blanket.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also kind of a witch.
Yeah.
Bene Gesserit, or Bene Gesserit, however you want to pronounce it. They're going to say that a lot, however you want to pronounce it. But she has these kind of specialty trainings that she can pick up every minute detail and kind of see what everybody's thinking.
She's kind of a, she's kind of like Rayman, if Rayman was also a ninja.
You mean Rain Man?
Yeah, Rain Man.
Okay. Or the video game Rain Man.
Yeah, Rayman.
All right.
Yeah,
Rain Man.
he's like they're like Rain Man if Rain Man was a ninja and can also shout commands.
Yeah, she has a special thing called the Voice, which can like kind of make people bend to her will and do things they don't want to do. So anyway, the house gets basically, uprooted and destroyed. They have to run out to the desert to survive. They run into this group of Fremen, and the Fremen look at this kid Paul, and they're like, "Yep, he's like the chosen one.
Yep, he's Sand Jesus.
Yeah, he knows all, he sees all. We're gonna follow him into Bitter Hejad." And the rest of the story is Paul kind of adapting to the desert way, and kind of mounting his army a little bit, and kind of taking the fight back to the Harkonnen. And
as the story goes, there's this kind of swelling of a cult around him, where he's kind of a messiah-like character. Because he's also one of the things. Spoilers. One of the things that the Bene Gesserit are trying to do is through selective breeding, bring about this thing. I don't know how to.
Hitzat's Cataract.
Yeah, Hitzat's Cataract, and that's basically like kind of like a perfect being, like like the Bene Gesserit can see through the memories of pretty much all the past Reverend Mothers, these high priestesses, and supposedly the Bobcat Kothwaits, or the
Hitzat's
can pretty much look through the memories of everyone.
And so, and now here's a super spoiler. At the end of the book, it turns out that this guy that they've been building up this entire time as being this Quetzalcoatl's Hitzat's Cataract, and being like this chosen one, and every single thing he's doing pointed to him being the chosen one. It turns out now, spoiler alert, that he is the chosen one. And that's kind of the very, very brief overview. Now, don't get me wrong, I know it sounds like this is a confusing story and everything like that, but I liked it. I liked it a lot.
One of the big things I really liked, the concepts I thought was really neat, was his sister.
Oh yeah, yes, he has a. Go ahead.
So his sister, there is this oh man, where do I start? There is this ceremony where where Paul's mother, who's just a regular Bene Gesserit, goes through the ceremony where she becomes a Reverend Mother, and it involves drinking the
water of life.
The water of life, which is just worm juice.
Yeah, it's poison basically.
Yeah. And through some mechanism of ingesting, she controls it on a molecular level and processes it so it can be consumed for everyone. But in that process, it makes her a Reverend Mother. It gives her a connection. But the big twist is that when she goes through that ceremony, she was pregnant with her daughter.
And then when the daughter comes screaming out of there, like she basically knows all as like a 2-year-old.
Yeah, she becomes self-aware in the womb before she's even fully developed.
She gets driven mad by being in the womb for 9 months.
Yep. And that's kind of a neat concept. I'm not going to spoil anything, but she's pretty interesting in the other books as well.
I know that now let's go over the things that I kind of really liked, and then we'll kind of maybe talk a little bit about what I didn't like or what we didn't like. But I do want to kind of talk about some of the things that I did enjoy about this. Because, again, I really like this. I picked it up just on a whim, kind of, because I've been meaning to read it. And, with the movie coming out, our library got new books. And I was like, all right, let me just grab it. And I was like, wow, this is well-paced. I thought it would be kind of difficult to understand when I'm going through it. But it really wasn't. They had enough, how do I put it? Enough, like, space lingo and like different things that I'm not aware of to keep me interested, but there was also enough things that were grounded in like my reality that I never got too confused. It was a fine balancing act. Now the thing I liked most about this story, and I'm sure that it has its fans as well, is the Baron, the evil Baron.
Yeah, the Baron's guy. Pretty good.
Baron Harkonnen is fantastic. He is just like, he's just this big, fat, like scheming asshole, and like he's so heavy that he needs
pretty much machinery to keep him aloft.
Yeah, because I guess he just doesn't feel like he doesn't feel like doing it himself.
Well, I think they actually gave a weight to him. Like, he's like 400 kilos.
Oh wow!
And like the floaters
suspensors.
His suspensors give him the weight of like 100 kilos. So he's actually supposed to be walking around and not floating around like
in the movie,
like Ed Wynn and Mary Poppins. who if I made the movie, would be Baron Harkonnen.
Oh yeah,
but
I digress.
One thing we didn't bring up, which is a big point in the book:
the worms.
The worms.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're gonna get there.
All right.
The sandworms were. I'm gonna save that a little bit later.
All right.
Because I'm still talking about the things that I liked.
All right. Oh, okay.
No, it's not really.
Right,
it's not going to go over things.
Let's see where it's going.
But the other thing I liked is, it doesn't. Again, spoilers. There's so much. Like I almost don't want to talk about so much stuff, but
I know.
We kind of have to. So if you don't think that this book is not going to end between a knife fight between sand prophecies and Sting, then you don't know what this book's about. This book is awesome in so many respects. There's so many really neat things. Like, even though I'm not a big fan of books or movies or TV shows where there's a very super intelligent little kid, this actually I thought was done very well. This was kind of neat.
Oh, with the sister? Yeah. No, I thought that was done very well. Even her portrayal in the movie was
her
done.
Speaking in a scary voice.
Yeah.
Now you can go.
The voice in the Lynch movie was a bit silly.
I hope they keep that for the next movie, for the one with Mary Jane in it.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll talk now about I guess we'll talk now about unless you have something else you want to bring up.
Well, maybe Britton liked something in the book.
You talked about your thing you liked.
My favorite thing about the book is, in and of itself, is the setting. A lot of times in far future, like this is far future. This is supposed to be like the year 10,000 something. So usually in the far future, there's like this extravagant technology, and usually the technology is so out there and so big and and in your face in books and movies like that it almost overshadows everything else. And the thing in this book is because it implies that there was this kind of technological war thousands of years ago. So it has its technology, but it's kind of but the overall society is rooted in almost this medieval chivalry and codes and houses and stuff like that. I kind of liked this fusion of science fiction with fantasy.
Yeah, I think it was done like I would find it hard pressed to say that this book is not a science fiction book, but I definitely understand that. I would also be hard pressed to say that it does not have elements of fantasy to it too. I mean, you have a chosen one, you have kings, houses, dukes, you know.
But you also have witches, magic, stuff like that.
So there's, it is definitely a very good blending of the two genres.
Yeah, very, very well done.
Now, I think we both have the same kind of idea of what we didn't like about this book, and very small gripes. Mainly, there is a part where, after all this cool stuff happening, that it does kind of start to drag a little bit now.
Yeah.
They're wandering in the desert. I didn't really mind that too much, except for there was like a stupid, I lost my...
I lost my bag.
Yeah, kind of scene. But other than that, that was fine. But, to me, it did start to drag a little bit when he was kind of going to his, daily life with the Fremen.
Yeah.
And, I'm like, well... This is kind of boring for the chosen one to see him sit there and not be the chosen one.
And I kind of get it. He showed what it was like for a slice of life as a duke's son among aristocracy, and I guess he wanted to show a little bit more like the Fremen lifestyle where they live in they have Spartan needs.
They have huts. Well, they don't. They live in caves and stuff. But so that was basically, and that's even though it was like a little bit part of the book, maybe less than 100 pages.
Yeah.
It was the part of the book that it was kind of all right, this is not as interesting.
That part didn't bother me as much as him wandering through the desert with his mom, okay, we gotta walk funny, or else the worm will get us. And then, all right, we're gonna sleep in the tent. All right, more funny walking. and just a couple days of that, you can't. Oh, the worm can't get us on these rocks because these are not worm rocks, or just silly stuff like that made it drag. But a very minor part of the book.
Now, let's get into the worms.
Right.
I have.
I haven't heard your opinion of the worms. Or is this not an opinion piece?
No, this is an opinion piece.
Alright.
The worms, it's tough for me because I like the worms for the most part. Though for a good portion of it, they were very underwhelming. The first time you see a sandworm, sandworm and spice are about the only two things I know about Dune. Here we go. We see the sandworm finally. And it just is Maul just opens in the desert, and it's just what was there is not there anymore. That's exciting.
I would I would have liked a little bit more of a threat from the worms. I know there's this big shield wall where the worms can't really get through, and same with these powerful Coriolis storms, and but it's I would have liked to have seen more examples of worm attacks, or stuff like that to give, just to build up. Spoiler alert! Just to build up how impressive it is that these backward savages, from the point of view of the rest of the planet, are riding these worms and taming them.
And that's actually going to bring me to my second part of the worm things. When they're just opening up their maw and things just kind of fall into them, they're not very impressive. But they do make the most of it when they're just riding these worms into
battle.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, that's fucking awesome. That is some fucking rock shit right there.
The imagery does invoke that of an 80s album cover.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. And I remember we both had the same moment when we were reading it, when towards the end, the Harkonnens, people come in and tell them that they're invading.
Yeah.
And they're they're riding the sandworms, and it's it was just in a moment of pure badassery, because it's these people's minds are fucking blown.
Yeah, from the point of view of the rest of the galaxy, that these worms, you can, it's such a pain in the ass just to kill them. You can nuke them, but if you don't nuke 100% of them, they'll grow back.
Yeah,
and just these feral, untamable beasts that are being controlled by these backwards, almost viewed as animals.
Yeah.
Coming in just to destroy the Imperial army, shouting the name of Muad'Dib.
Yeah, to me, like, this, just to kind of, if you have no intentions of reading this, that's fine. But just to put it into perspective, almost how they built up these worms and everything, it would be like if I stormed the royal palace riding a volcano. It's like, that is the kind of, like, I don't understand what I'm looking at kind of idea that they have.
I'm trying to I would say maybe not a volcano, maybe a tornado. Like a bunch of people with saddles that are sitting astride a tornado, and they come and they raid. They come and raid the Buckingham Palace.
Like I don't know, Paul's worm that he tamed. They said that was like the biggest worm they ever seen.
Grandmother worm or something like that.
And I think they gave an exact measurement of how far across it was, but it was
wasn't it like
huge.
a kilometer?
Yeah, it was
like
huge.
something unfathomable.
So yeah, that's my volcano for you.
Yeah, like a man riding a mountain.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing I want to kind of go over is I'm going to give a very brief description, very, very brief description of the different characters in this book, because a lot of them, they're very varied.
Yeah.
I'm only going to give like the kind of important ones, but you'll see where I'm going with this very quickly.
All
so
right.
we have Paul, or Muad'Dib. We have his mother, Jessica. Paul is described as like a little kid, think like
15.
dark, 15, dark hair, I guess. Jessica, they said that she had bronze-colored hair, I think, golden bronze hair in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, a ninja witch. Let's see, we have, what the hell is his name?
Gurney.
Gurney, yeah. Gurney Halleck, who kind of plays the guitar, and is a complete badass fighter.
Yeah.
And then we have...
I forget the name of the mentat.
Hawat. Or Hawat, or whatever. We have him. We have Stilgar, who was the leader of the Fremen.
Yeah.
And we have Baron Harkonnen. Well, I'll say those like the main characters are really thing. I'm not gonna go too much into Aaliyah.
Yeah, you have the scientist,
or Freyd, or Dr. Yui or whatever. I'm not gonna go into them. I just want to kind of focus on these guys because they really were like kind of the big ones.
Yeah.
So when you were reading them, we were talking about this a little bit. When you were reading the book at first, who did you imagine in your head was kind of playing these? Because I likened a lot of these things to people I've seen before, like I don't make up my own kind of thing. Like I'll start with the easiest one. I'll start with Jessica. And my Jessica in my head was very strange.
All right. Go on.
We might have talked about this before.
Because I must have missed. I must have missed what Jessica looked her description, because in my head she was a blonde.
Well, that's fine. Like the only reason, because I remember we talked about this, and I remember I was like pretty sure they said she had red hair, and as I was going through later on, they said again like she had hair of golden bronze.
Yeah, I must have read the golden and missed the bronze part.
So, but anyway, that's fine if you want to think of her as a blonde, because that's actually kind of more interesting.
All right.
To hear your thing. So, in my head, she was. Do you remember Ocarina of Time?
Okay.
And do you remember the people who kind of guarded I think it was the Sand Temple. What
the hell are they called? Yeah, I remember them.
The Gerudo.
Yeah, the Gerudo.
Yeah, I imagine that she was the leader of the Gerudo. Like,
okay, that's weird.
She had like the same outfit because she was kind of witch-like. She had the.
Not really. She was.
Or not witch-like. I mean, kind of. She had that kind of graceful movement and everything. She fought hard. So yeah, that was in my head the entire time. And mind you, I wasn't upgrading the graphics in my head. Like she in my head.
She was a block lady.
She was a block lady, literally a block lady. So that was my Lady Jessica.
My Lady Jessica, excuse me, like she was kind of her, like I don't really liken them. I kind of make them in my head.
Oh well, this is gonna be less fun.
But if I had to say who she looked like, the closest thing would probably be Ilsa from
Frozen?
Frozen.
Okay.
But not like this big-eyed big-eyed CGI monstrosity, but like a normal woman.
Yeah, okay. So Paul, we'll move on to Paul next. Again, mine's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, you're not gonna like my Paul.
Okay, I want to hear your Paul.
I never really saw Paul. Like most of when I read about Paul, it was usually through the eyes of Paul.
Okay.
So he didn't really have, he didn't have a face.
Oh, so he was faceless.
Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, he was pretty much just, a kid, generic as you can get.
So my Paul.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, strap yourself in for this one. Like, this even more an even wilder ride than fucking Jessica.
All right.
So, do you remember Meet the Fockers?
Yeah.
Now, do you remember when they made an offhand remark that, little Greg, he lost his virginity to, our housekeeper at the time, 15 years ago.
I remember that.
So now when Robert De Niro meets this girl's son, it's this fast-talking little kid who looks a lot like Ben Stiller and is like lying through his teeth kind of thing.
I have the vaguest memory of that.
That is my Paul.
That is... First off... Why?
I don't know. Like I said, I don't choose what I see in my head.
So in your head, that like you read the briefest description of what Paul Atreides looks like, and the synapses fired in just the right direction.
It was
that it was the kid from Meet the Parents or Meet the Fockers?
Meet the Fockers. Like, it was almost like I read a description of Paul and just like a ching in my head, like cash register. Door opened. Here's your character. It's fucking it's that kid from Meet the Fockers. All right, this is where I'm going with this.
This is the hand I was dealt.
All right, so now I'm gonna do Hawat because he's more boring. Because I have no idea in my head who Howard is. I just imagine he's like he's an old drunk.
Yeah, like to me, Howard was just this short little miserable guy who was he was always dressed in armor. I don't know why. I always got him and Gurney kind of confused.
Yeah, they both had H.A. names.
Yeah. So, like, I know Howard was more of the mentat where he was figuring out stuff, and Gurney was more the guy who was training
fighter,
Paul.
Yeah. So, Gurney, now, we'll move on to him since you mentioned that. Gurney's supposed to be like an older but, tough fighter kind of thing.
So...
Okay, oh boy, I'm glad now.
So Gurney, I read in the book that he has this scar on his face.
Okay.
And it gave a description of the type of scar. I forget how they describe it, but I didn't really know the word of what type of scar it was. So in my head, he was kind of like this limping, deformed guy who is just through years of battle, because they kind of described him as a little bit ugly.
Yeah.
So he's kind of he's portly a little bit.
Okay.
So he's kind of like, Paul, you can't have your back to the door, Paul. Just kind of a wreck from years of battle.
Now, I kind of imagine he was heavier, had a big beard.
No beard. You would think so. In my head, you would think so to hide his hideousness, but no beard.
So my guy kind of looked a little bit, and this is gonna be a weird one. So there's a guy. I don't know a lot about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Oh God.
But there was one guy in there that I remember seeing from the movie, and also clips of reviews of the movie. Of the turtles give a guy a wet willy, like they both stick they lick their fingers and stick their tongues in both of this guy's ears, and it's such a big wet willy he sticks his tongue out. That was Gurney Halleck for me, that guy. No scar, it didn't matter.
So the guy who received the wet willy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3.
Yes, that was my.
And that was not a conscious choice.
No, none of these are conscious choices, Britton. So now let's move on to Stilgar, he's like the Fremen leader, and he's like wise but also strong.
Big beardy man.
Okay.
Just
generic.
Yeah. Hold on. Like I have a picture of him in my head, and he does kind of look like someone. Though I guess if I had to say what he looked like, the closest description is what's that giant guy with the big beard in Harry Potter?
Oh, Hagrid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not with the long hair, but definitely the big bushy beard.
I imagined a like a John Hurt / Max
John
von
Hurt.
Yeah, Max von Sydow kind of guy. Just like an old, almost gentle but still wise, kind of soul. I know he wasn't really described
like
as
this frail. You pictured Stilgar, the leader of the Fremen, who has to fight and kill to keep his position, as this frail, sickly old man.
Not sickly, he's strong. He's like Master Roshi. Like once he takes his shirt off, he's rippling with muscles.
John Hurt, rippling with muscles.
Yes. Yeah, like again, he hides it. He's wearing like a robe and everything like that. But he's got that voice like he's kind of like John Hurt from what's that?
Indiana Jones.
I was thinking Hellboy.
Okay.
That kind of thing. But he's got an inner strength, and he knows that he can still probably, because he's a good fighter. It doesn't matter how old he is. He still knows his way around a knife. He can still stab somebody if he needs to. But yes, that is Stilgar. Alright, now the grand finale. Baron Harkonnen.
So Baron Harkonnen was in my head, his proportions were out of control. He was how do I describe it? I think he was wider than he was tall.
Okay.
He was bald. Completely bald. And every time he walked, he would undulate.
Okay. I've talked about mine many a time, so you know where this is going. But
I think you did, but refresh my memory.
But this was the easiest. I saw Boss Nass from Phantom Menace. Yeah, he was always sitting down. That was the suspensors. He was always sitting down in the chair that he was sitting in the Phantom Menace.
So his chair would float around?
Yes, that is exactly how it would be. And that is exactly how I imagine him. And, he was even the same, he was like green, like, they think they're so big with their heads.
Mine was pretty much You remember Kingpin from the Spider-Man cartoon in the 90s? It was that, but grotesquely fatter.
Okay. So, it's funny that we have different styles of reading. Like, you actually paint the scene in your head and make up something from the ether.
Oh, yeah.
With the books. And me, I'm like, he's a big fat... Yep, he's Boss Nass in my head. That's what's going on.
I wonder if that's, if that's a byproduct of... like how you played with your action figures, like, all right, this Playmobil toy, that's Neo for the Matrix.
Yeah. And as you just studied your toys and
well, this Bishop character doesn't look a lot like who's the actor?
John Hurt.
No, he didn't play
Lance
Bishop.
Hendrickson.
Yeah, he doesn't look a lot like Lance Hendrickson. But I guess I didn't play with toys right.
Yeah, and I had to make do with what I had, so, like, my imagination is, I'm not gonna say stunted, but it's definitely,
Actually, I think your imagination probably flourished more because, you had to make do. You had to make them yours. Like, I actually had I had the proper toys.
And he bitched at him. This doesn't look like Bishop. Like, I even had Egon toys. I had one Ghostbuster toy. Actually, I had a few Ghostbusters toys. I had Egon, who was
the one where his tie would flip up?
Yeah, you'd push it and his tie would flip up.
Yep, I had that one.
Okay. Mine went missing, so you don't know anything about that, do you?
I know that I tried to figure out the mechanism for the tie.
My tie broke off, so it could, like, half of it broke off, so it still kind of did it, but it wasn't enough. And, I had
part of a slinky, but I straightened it.
What about the slinky? I had what do you call it? The thing that the trap. I had a
ghost trap?
Yeah, I had the ghost trap where it used to do where you'd pump it and it would open up.
Yeah.
But then it stopped doing that after a while.
Yep, I had one of those and did the same thing.
So I think I made it into a spaceship. Like, that would fly around.
No, that's unique. I can see that.
Yeah, I was like, well, okay, well, this isn't gonna... What am I gonna do? Pretend like I'm fighting ghosts? Or am I gonna put them all in this trap and have them fly around to different planets? That makes more sense. I had... Well, I think as a kid my mom was babysitting, left one behind, so I had this grabber almost. Like, you pulled the trigger and this like little grabber at the end. I guess it was like ghost grabber. I don't know, I didn't watch the show a lot. The cartoon, the real Ghostbusters. Yeah. But I had one of those, and I didn't really do much with that, except sometimes I would put it into, like, I'd put it into a coat, so, like, just the thing would hang out, and I think I'd pretend I was Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Let me tell you the extent of Britton's imagination. Mm-hmm. So, there were times where I would find something that was not a toy and make it a toy.
Okay.
And my father had like his ratchet sets out, you have the ratchet extensions, to get into different spots, and like I would put them all together until it kind of tapered off into a smaller and smaller, smaller and smaller things until it was a tower. Okay. Of ratchet pieces, and I pretended it was a rocket ship, and each section of the ratchet set is where the
fuel would break off?
Yeah, it would break off.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that's very fun and enjoyable. That's actually a funny idea, but it's also very practical.
It is probably the most Britton imagination thing. Like, yes, this is how this would go. Like, all right, they're done with that booster, so they're not going to haul that booster with them. That's just a waste of energy, so they'll break it off.
It's like, I imagine that when you were playing with it, it's like, now beginning our 4-year orbit around the planet to do studying of agricultural regions. Like, I used to... I never had, a practicality like that. I almost envy that. I used to take one of the things I enjoyed doing was taking my blankets and like kind of balling it up, and then having my people go in there. It was like a big castle and a big maze, and they had to go in and out the folds and everything.
Yeah.
So there was
cool.
Yeah, a piece of the blanket. They'd go up to the top, and like the person at the top was like the king of the hill that they had to murder or something. There's a lot of murdering going on in my imagination. But so you may do with what you had. Mine wasn't as practical as yours. But where would he post guards if he needed to defend this hill? How does he eat up there?
Now, why wouldn't he have archers if he is on top of the hill? He has the high ground.
Anakin Skywalker's like, no.
One of the things I would do as a kid is I used to have cars. Mm-hmm. Like these little matchbox cars, and I had a yard ruler that would just drape across the arms of the kitchen table chair, and just have these cars slowly and treacherously cross this yardstick bridge.
I imagine like you were narrating like, oh, we have to pull this freight across to the other side in order to complete our delivery.
I think this is when I was really young, like 4.
Okay.
And I would still I don't know why, but anytime I had to say like oh no, oh no Jerry, or oh no Paul, I don't know why I always chose this name, but I always called them Soggy, like from the Captain Crunch. Oh no, Soggy.
To be fair, that's like actually kind of a cool name for a sidekick character. You know, that's his nickname. Like, his real name is like, Aaron Sogerson, but everyone calls him Soggy.
I think it was Soggy because he got the nickname when he got drunk and wet his pants one day, like in college, and the name just stuck with him.
And the one good thing about Soggy is that he doesn't
he doesn't lose his crunch in milk.
Nope, not at all. Well, I guess he would.
Yeah, old Soggy pants.
Like, I kind of want to know more about Soggy now. Like, Soggy seems just like a cool name for a character.
Like, I don't know what Soggy would look like.
I have a perfect picture in my head.
Okay, what does Soggy look like to you?
So he's got a...
John Mellencamp.
He's got a ball cap. He's got like maybe a beige, kind of a suit on because he does a lot of khaki work, I guess.
All right.
He's kind of like, maybe a little bit like Indiana Jones's airplane guy in the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
All right.
So that's Soggy.
That's Soggy.
He's, go ahead. Well, we'll talk about what he does in a minute.
If I had to say, like, we're going back over 30 years into the mind of a child. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, judging by how practical I was with the ratchets, I'm guessing that Soggy was just a middle-aged guy. Middle-aged, a little bit overweight, balding a little bit.
See, I imagine Soggy is kind of almost a little bit like the comic relief type guy in the story that we're telling, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like he's and he's also a jack of all trade kind of characters. Like he does mechanic work. He's not the best at it, but he can get his guys out of a jam when they're trying to cross this yardstick bridge. He's like, all right, guys, I souped up the engine a little bit to give it a little bit more oomph because we're only going to have a few minutes to get across this bridge.
Soggy is the guy they thought was dead and then comes in on the helicopter to bail them out.
And then he gets shot.
Yep, but pulls through.
Like, Soggy definitely falls off the cliff. We know that much. You already mentioned it, like, oh no, Soggy.
Yeah, but we think he's dead, and then they're putting the graves on his flowers, but then it pans or putting the flowers on his grave. You know what I meant?
Really, really mean. Like fucking Soggy's flowers. They drop the coffin.
Here, I'm gonna put my dog's coffin on this. They put the flowers on his grave. That says Sogerson.
Yeah.
But it's Matilda Sogerson, his aunt.
All right, so here's how I'm thinking now. Soggy's like, he's telling him to get across and everything. He's like, all right, guys, did this, did that. Soggy, you sure this is gonna hold? It better hold, man. We don't have any other choice.
It'll hold, but I'm gonna have to be the one to blow the bridge.
And Soggy ends up I don't even think, I think the storm comes in and shakes the bridge enough, like Galloping Gertie, and the bridge just collapses and Soggy collapses with it, like, Soggy, or not angry with him, like, Soggy, get back up here.
Soggy, what? I thought you said this bridge would hold.
So he's like, all right, man, we keep going. We do this for Soggy. And they get to the other side, and then there's the bad guys there at the top of the mountain hill shooting archers at things. And it looks like, he kidnaps our heroes and he's trying to make them
dead to rights.
Yeah, dead to rights. He's trying to make them talk, and then here comes a helicopter. And, the bad guy drops, and as the bad guy drops, it reveals the helicopter, and there's Soggy standing there with the rifle. Soggy! I thought you guys might need a hand.
It's either that or, well, we couldn't have done the bad guy's like, well, we couldn't have done this without our assistant helping us out. And Soggy comes out in a leather jumpsuit.
Oh, Soggy's the bad guy?
He's a double crosser.
Actually, I want to go on with this. Soggy is the, he's the double cross. His hair's slicked back and and oiled. He's got the leather suit on now. He's smoking a cigarette. You guys thought that it was about loyalty for me, huh? Well, he spits into his hand and extinguishes the cigarette. They pay more.
Like, you thought my real name was Soggy? What kind of name is Soggy? My name is Alfonso von Staugenstein.
Actually, I was gonna go a different route. You thought my name was Soggy? It's Alfonso Cruncherson. Call me Captain. Captain Crunch,
Son of a bitch.
But it's actually a
triple cross?
A triple cross because he needed, he wanted to get close enough to the bad guy, but also have his friends in there. So it's like, you know what? We're gonna finally, now we get them. All right, Soggy, kill them with pleasure. And he shoots the
bad guy.
Or he turns the gun. Oh, no bullet. It's kind of thing like, I knew we couldn't trust you, Sogerson. And he takes off, I imagine, the wig that was the grease, the slick back hair, and his hat pops out. It was hiding the hat the whole time.
Like his backwards baseball cap.
Yeah. It's like, no, he wears his forward.
forward. Yeah, that makes sense. He's more of a forward.
It's like, I would never betray my friends. And then they drop him into the pit. And 2 Bengal tigers come out. And now Soggy's got to fight the Bengal tigers. And I think he does, because up his sleeve, he's got a ratchet. Yes.
And he dismantles the tigers.
Yeah. He comes because are they robot tigers?
No, he just, he's that good.
He comes back up a few minutes later, dust in his hands, and he drops like a bunch of like lug nuts onto there. But it's some of the lug nuts have like matted tiger fur. You don't see blood.
Yeah, the tigers are still alive. They're fine down there. They're not in any pain. They're just dismantled.
Yeah. And the bad guy looks at him. He's like, "How the hell did you do that? You don't know about Soggy. He can take apart anything."
If there's something to be taken apart or put together, Soggy's your guy.
And then, so I guess the big question is, what could the bad guy want that could warrant a man so epic as Soggy to join to join this fray?
Let's see. The diamond at the center of the earth.
Like the literal, like the world diamond.
Yeah.
And I imagine to this man, we'll call him Baddie. To this man, this could be Captain Crunch. He's a disgraced
Captain
naval officer. And he was kicked out of the Navy because he kept on trying to launch submarines into the Marianas Trench.
He was a stone's throw away from becoming Admiral Crunch.
Yeah,
and he was disgraced at the last moment for
the submarines in the Marianas Trench, trying to dig to the center of the earth
to get the world diamond.
Yep, and he wants it just to have the world diamond and have the world in his hand, basically.
But it was so embittered by everything that went on to get him kicked out that he just wants to destabilize the market now.
Well, actually, I got something even better. He didn't want the diamond originally. He just wanted to prove that it was real.
Yeah.
He just wanted to prove its existence, and he ends up becoming obsessed and getting kicked out of the military. But now, after he reads all these legends and everything, because he knows more about this than anybody.
Yeah.
It turns out that, and the good guys figures out too, that if the world diamond is ever removed from its place, the Earth will slowly start to collapse. Like there'll be earthquakes and everything like that. And now he wants the world diamond to have the whole Earth collapse in and of itself.
Now, how big is the world diamond to you?
See, I go back and forth because I don't want it to be like the size of a room, but I also want it to be too small. Maybe the size of a basketball.
Like all this pressure of it's such a pure diamond from the pressure of the entire world on it that it would be without value. It is so beyond value.
Yeah.
But it's also the diamond that's holding the earth together.
So now here's a question.
Yeah.
When he gets far enough, is there like a little chamber where there's diamonds in the middle of it, or is it just something he has to break through and take out?
Like he's about to get the diamond? You think he's on
I think he's close to getting the diamond by the end.
I think by the end of the movie, he starts the mechanism that'll start tunneling down to get the diamond, only to figure out that there is no diamond, just magma, and he burns.
Well, that's not fun.
It's kind of funny.
It's a little funny, but it's not fun. There's no tension to, finally I'll get it.
Oh, there's just hot stuff down here.
He believed in the legend of the diamond too much.
He was an idiot.
No, here's
okay.
Here's what I think happens. I think he gets the diamond.
All right.
And, he celebrates his victory. There's earthquakes happening. Like, put the diamond back quickly. It'll restore the balance of the world. There's a fight. Soggy gets the best of him. No, the hero gets the best of him. Him and Soggy.
Yeah.
And what they do is they stuff him into the hole. And he becomes the new diamond at the center of the earth. He gets all his carbon. Yeah, gets crystallized.
Because I thought since it's in this chamber, that they're gonna have this zero gravity fight.
That would be pretty cool too.
In a chamber in the center of the earth, there would be no gravity.
Yeah, that would be
either that or all the gravity would be on the, the out or the kind of the walls around the chamber.
Well, all the gravity's in. Well, yeah, it's a circle chamber.
Yeah, it's a sphere chamber. So, but any surface you walk on would have gravity in the other direction.
So they could feasibly just run across the whole length of the sphere.
Yeah, so someone could be on the top of the sphere throwing punches at someone at the bottom of the sphere.
That would be fucking awesome. That'd be the greatest fight in the world. And
meanwhile, they have to avoid the dead center of it.
Yeah, because that's what's gonna suck you in.
Yeah, and make him, and that's how he does. He punches him into the new diamond.
Yep. Like he punches him first. Like part of his arm gets trapped, and you see it. Crunching, and then they shove him in the rest of the way, and the last thing you see is his mouth screaming as it gets crushed.
It's kind of like the ending of Alien Resurrection when the alien's getting sucked out the window.
Kinda, yeah, only he's getting sucked into a diamond that's, in the very center of this thing.
And it's blood-red.
Yep, a blood diamond.
A blood diamond at the center of the...
And it glows bright like a blood diamond. And then they now, Soggy and the other guy, they have the world diamond, and they come up with it, and
they drop it. There's
shatters.
Like there's some like, give me your hand, but the diamond. No, give me your hand, and they have to drop the diamond.
No, I want them to keep the diamond. But like they don't sell it. They just kind of
they put it in their study.
Yeah, exactly.
Just under glass.
They get like a little shelf or something, like a hastily built shelf that's like, clearly just made of wood, but like, there's like splinters and things hanging out.
It's made of particle board.
Yeah. And there's like a sign written in like backwards letters that says like
World Diamond.
Yeah, exactly.
It's either that or the immense pressures that were holding the diamond get released, and it's just an explosion. Like it slowly becomes unstable as they're taking it, and then they throw it down a cavity.
It as it gets to the surface, it just kind of fades away into their hand into pure free carbon.
Yeah, just carbon dust.
Yep.
Like the same stuff that you would find in like a lead pencil.
Yeah.
Just turns to pure graphite.
And they look at each other and they just laugh. And that's it. That's the end of the adventure. They go back across the bridge, ready for the next adventure.
Yeah. No, I'd still prefer the particle board shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's they're probably the richest Persian on the planet, but
it's not about that.
Yeah, it's not about.
They use it as a paperweight.
Yeah, a doorstop like Alf.
So on that note, after the epic story of Soggy and the World Diamond, Dune.
Very good book. If you like science fiction and fantasy and sword fighting and big epic stories, you really can't go wrong with Dune. Very very good book. I can't recommend it enough.
It's a great book. There's a reason that it's considered a classic. Like, go out and check it out for yourself. Don't be intimidated by its size or how dense it could be with some of the terminology. It's very well paced, and all that kind of new terminology is balanced out in the beginning to the point where you'll not feel any kind of confusion, really.
Yeah.
So go for it. If you like books, check this out. This is a fantastic book, and there's a reason, like I said before, that it stood the test of time. Mm-hmm. And they made 2 movies about it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So and a miniseries. Mm-hmm. So I guess that'll do it. All right, take it easy, everybody.
A toodaloo.
That'll hold a little SOBs.